Hello everybody, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So today I want to talk more about the ascension process. I just posted a video talking about ascension and what it means to you. So today I want to just dig a little bit deeper about this ascension that's happening. So ascending doesn't come without a price, you guys. And for those of you who are going through this ascension process, already know that this ascension doesn't come without a price. There's a price, okay? And achieving a higher level of consciousness isn't accomplished just by absorbing it. It literally requires commitment, diligence, and lots of sacrificing. I started to feel and see the rewards of this ascension after I started to embrace the process a few years ago and literally just take it seriously. I can honestly say that I have sacrificed so much. I sacrificed a lot to continue to ascend, to continue my ascent. I've committed myself to this process. It took me a while to get myself to commit, but I finally did. I feel that I could probably commit a little bit more, but you know, what I'm doing today is a lot more than I was doing a year ago and a lot more than I was doing 5 years ago. So I've come a long way, and this is a process, and it requires you to take baby steps, you know, to get into it, to acclimate to it, because this whole ascension process is a change to your whole entire life. You know, I'm still working on the diligence part. I could probably be a little bit more diligent in my, you know, self-care and commitment. You know, there's some things that I still need to work on. I just want to be open and honest with you guys because you watch my videos, and I don't want any of you guys to think that I'm, you know, this saint or, you know, this master of ascension because, you know, I make videos about this stuff. I'm still processing just like a lot of you guys are processing, and I'm just sharing my knowledge of, you know, what I've experienced, and I thought I'd pass that along to you guys because years ago when I was going through this, there wasn't people on YouTube talking about it, and if there was, I didn't know about it. And you know, it's because this was not that it was a secret, but nobody really talked about this stuff, because if you did talk about this stuff, you were just crazy. Your mind was lost, and people would be like, okay, something's wrong with you, girl, you need meds. And you know, people started to kind of keep their distance from you if you talked about this, you know, kind of stuff. You talked about paranormal stuff, and it was crazy because my whole life I've seen paranormal things, and when I talked about it, people would tell me it's all in my head or I watch too much TV, and you know, the normal stuff that you guys hear people say when they try to tell you their experience. It's normally people think I'm nuts, it's all in your head, blah blah blah. But so yeah, I really didn't share too much of this stuff in my life until maybe the last 5 years openly, and I lost a lot of friends. Now, just because I've been going through this ascension process for so many years, it feels like all of my life, does not mean that you will go through this as long as I'm going through this. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe you will go through this very short. Maybe it'll be a very short and a very fast awakening for you. We are all unique individuals on our own individual path. However, it seems like more people are, you know, processing this ascension in a more similar way, you know, as, you know, for what I'm going through, there's a lot of people out there going, yes, I experienced that too. Yes, that's happening to me too. So I feel like a lot of us are experiencing the same thing, but it doesn't mean that we're going to experience the same exact thing. Maybe it'll be a longer process for you. Maybe it'll be a shorter process for you. Maybe it'll be a more painful process for you. Maybe there'll be more hurdles and challenges in your life. Maybe you'll lose a lot of a lot more people or a lot of loved ones, or I don't know, maybe you'll experience more dark night of the souls more than another person that's going through this process, or maybe you won't. I don't know. We're all awakening. We're all going through this ascension, but it has to do with karmic clearing. We all don't have the same karma, okay? But the ascension in itself does create a lot of similar symptoms, causing people to have achy muscles and making them feel tired and headaches. Those seem to be like the norm, you know, of what people are experiencing as they're going through this ascension, as their body's going through the transformation. But a lot of the other stuff has to do with karmic clearing. And karmic clearing or a purge can be a little painful. But for me, so far the awards of ascension outweigh the pain of getting there. Now, there has been many, 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 many times when I questioned my sanity as I walked this path, having to confront my fears at every single turn. This process really, really does challenge you. The things that you fear are what comes out while walking this path. The things that you fear will become your lessons. If you fear loneliness, the universe will dish you out a big, fat, full crash course of being lonely and vulnerable and everything that comes along with being alone, throwing in a curveball or a test along the way to see how you handle those situations. Okay. And if you handle them well with love and with an open heart, and you're mindful and you embrace and overcome these obstacles, the universe awards you. As warped as that sounds, the universe will award you. It's like, yay, you passed the test. Okay, let's give her, let's give her a friend, or, whatever. Boom, she's going to get married. Whatever the case may be. It's just like the strangest things come out of the universe when you pass these tests. That was just an example, by the way. But there's a catch. When the universe is throwing you these curveballs, there's always a catch. And the catch is, are you strong enough? Are you strong enough? This ascension is really, really, really tough. And it really toughens you up spiritually. It's kind of like spiritual boot camp. That's what this feels like to me. It's like spiritual boot camp. The universe is kicking my ass spiritually, mentally, and physically. Now, going through this ascension process, I have lost so many friends, and the friends that I didn't lose watch my videos in secret and talk about me, and they talk about how I really lost my mind. Like, oh my God, did you see that video that Gabby made and she posted it to YouTube? Yo, so-and-so told me about this video. I had to go check it out. And yo, I've never seen or heard Gabby talk like that before. Whoa, what's going on with this girl? All of a sudden it was Gabby blah, blah, blah like this. And now it's Gabby, peace, love, recycle, happiness, full moon, sunshine, rainbows, consciousness, spiritual this, spiritual that. What the hell happened to this girl? Like, where is she coming from? It's because I kind of just one day decided to come out and be open about my spirituality. And I had this little group on my Facebook channel, and it's not like I just one day I came out and here I am talking about all this spiritual stuff. I've had certain friends that have always been in my circle, that have been close to me, but there's other friends and acquaintances and people that I've known that, didn't really know that part of me. So when they seen that part of me, it's like, yo, it's like it blew their mind that this was a whole different Gabby. This is not a Gabby that they're used to seeing. This is a whole new, I guess, aspect of Gabby, and they weren't used to it. Now, going through this ascension, I have also walked away from a good career, making really, really good money, and also a side job. It was a hobby job, but it was a side job that I also really loved, and I also really made really good money in that side job. And, you know, I still love that side job, but the people in the industry that I was working in are vibrating at a lower level. And it's really, really difficult to create balance without getting, I guess, sucked back into all of the drama that that industry and that world creates. You know, I'm trying to work on myself and ground myself. And I think well, not that I think, I feel that I've come so far that I know that if I was to put myself back out there into the 9 to 5 world, or to do things that were once in a lower vibration, it would ultimately just lower my vibration. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the music industry, I really do, but a lot of the people that are in the industry are very low vibrational because it's a very competitive world. And you know, I get it, I truly get it. But there was a time, the last maybe probably the last 4 years, that I kind of shied away from the music industry just because of the low vibration and the drama that it created. And I needed to work on myself. So I needed to give that industry a break from my life. I still work in the music industry. I just don't, I'm not committed to it the way I used to be. I mean, I used to be so committed to it. It was all I ever talked about. And so little by little, you know, I still work in it with a few people, doing you know, a few big shows here and there, um, 2 times out of a year maybe. I mean, it's not a lot at all, but it's a passion. So I want to still do something that brings me joy and work with people that are kind of, you know, on a, that we can match our vibration, because a lot of the people that I worked with that were in my circle, we were good together, but outside of the circle, there's a lot of drama. Also, going through this ascension process, I have suffered the heartache of intense loneliness by changing my lifestyle. I'm not utterly lonely, like I'm not like helpless and like pitifully lonely, but I'm lonely. It's lonely out here. I changed, when I tell you I changed my lifestyle, I changed my lifestyle. I moved from New York City to upstate New York, to the country, like cows, goats, chickens, roosters, water, birds, trees, farmers, no traffic, like that, cornfields. That's a big change. I went from pizza shops that deliver 24/7 to pizza shops that close at 9 o'clock. It's like, what the hell? Like, there's nothing going on out here. But this is where I found myself. So, yeah, I changed my lifestyle, and, you know, I literally became a hermit. It felt good for the first couple of years that I'm here, but now that I've learned how to ground myself and realign myself and balance out myself, I don't feel the way I did when I lived in the city. So I'm not like utterly lonely. I still have my husband and my kids and my animals and the birds and nature, the trees, the water, the land, the house ghost. Yeah, my house is haunted. For those of you that have been following me for a long time, um, they'll know, you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, because I posted up my orb videos and stuff like that. So if the newbies want to know what I'm talking about, go to my playlist and check out my orb videos from 2016, 2017 and up. But going through all of this ascension stuff and losing, you know, my friends and family and feeling lonely, none of those things compared to the devastation that I felt by losing my health. Okay, my health has been a ginormous struggle. I have always believed that as long as I've had my health, that I could handle literally anything. But it's been very hard. It's been a challenge. I'm not like terminal or anything like that, but I'm dealing with an autoimmune issue. I have Graves' disease. They took out my thyroid, so my body's learning how to like re-regulate itself. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, you know, and fibro pretty much sums up everything. It's like, you know, fibro is the all-in-one package deal. It's like it's everything and anything under the sun. from fatigue, pain, brain fog, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like everything. It's like the all-in-one package of hell. Now, unfortunately, we were not left a manual on how to ascend when we agreed to reincarnate and come to Earth and become Earthlings. Okay, dealing with the pros and cons and explaining all of these steps. You know, as a result, many of us, myself included, had found ourselves very stunned and confused by the degree of physical, and not just physical, but emotional pain that we will experience in this ascension. Not understanding how or why, that it's a part of the process. Like we don't know why. Why do you have to experience pain at all? You know, not only do we go through emotional pain and physical pain and not knowing why we're going through this pain, but we don't even know how to heal from it and regain our health so that we can, you know, keep going forward, keep ascending, keep, you know, transforming. This video is my attempt to provide answers as to why our health is affected during ascension, along with some solutions for regaining our health. Now I want to say I consciously started to go through this ascension process in about 2012. And at the time, I asked a friend of mine who was very grounded spiritually for some guidance and insight on, you know, what I was experiencing and what I was going through. And my friend of mine told me to meditate. And I have to admit, I thought it was so cliche that she, you know, that she recommended meditation. I was like, seriously? Like, that's all you got for me is meditation? And I thought it was just stupid, okay? And I was like, that's all you got for me? Like, seriously? So one day I tried it. All right, I did exactly what she told me to do. She told me to, you know, try some guided meditation, go to YouTube and, you know, Google guided meditation. So I did, and I just kept scrolling and scrolling, and I'm thinking to myself, this is stupid, and scrolling. And then finally I just like tapped on one and just put some headphones on. I was like, let's do this. I was sitting on my bed by myself. I turned off the lights, I closed my eyes, and it was sitting there, and I just remember I felt really dumb. Like that's the word that just kept going through my head. Like, this is dumb. And then I started to feel awkward. I felt like it didn't feel natural. It just felt dumb. It felt awkward. It felt strange. It felt out of place. It felt like not me. I was like, what am I doing? And it was, I don't know. These are things that I thought. These are things that were just going through my mind. And I also thought to myself, you know, all right, 15 minutes. I can do this for 15 minutes. I said, but after this, I'm not going to do this no more. This is stupid. While I was sitting there, I could not quiet my mind. I could not quiet my brain. I was just thinking about everything. And I was like, I'm hungry. This is stupid. What time is it? How long have I been sitting here? When will I see whatever she said I was going to see? When will I hear spirit talk to me? You know, she told me the spirit's going to come through and guide me. And I was like, I don't hear spirit. I don't see spirit. I don't see colors or shapes or words. I see nothing. All I see is my desk at work, and I could just imagine how much paperwork was piling up on my desk. Or, you know, I just started seeing just random things in my life that I worried about, like work, kids, you know, what I was going to cook for dinner, just stuff like that. And it just felt like it wasn't working. So after this whole meditation, you know, I was thinking to myself, why did Rain suggest this for me? That was my friend's name. Her name was Rain. I was like, why did she suggest this for me? This is for monks. This is not for normal people. Normal people don't do this stuff. I was just ranting away in my head. Then suddenly, you're not going to believe this, you guys. I was like ranting, like blah, blah, blah. I was like just ranting away in my head. I felt this like a wind pass my face. And then I heard something hard just like hit the wall. It was like a wind, and then something went like hit the wall, but it was louder than that. And I opened my eyes and I went looking for what that was. I was like, well, that was weird. And I found this like little round piece of plastic. It was a piece of plastic that was a part of my speaker stand. I had these like studio speakers in my bedroom because my husband is an artist and he records music and stuff. So we have these studio speakers. And it was a piece of it was like the stand, but it was the piece of the plastic that, goes, how the aluminum legs are on a stand, and then they have those plastic caps. Well, it was that plastic cap. That plastic cap somehow came off of that speaker stand, flew past my face, and hit the wall. That is weird. I thought to myself, whoa, that has got to be a sign from spirit. Let me take this a little bit more seriously, because all I was doing was being negative and it was just ranting away in my head, and I just kept saying how stupid this was. So again, of course, I tried again the next day. I thought, okay, let me just try it again. Let's see what happens. And I had a better experience at it. I didn't feel so dumb. I got myself set up once again, got comfortable. This time I put a blanket around me so I wouldn't be cold. I ate before I went into meditation so I wouldn't be hungry. And I just tried to keep expectations low. Like, I wasn't expecting to see spirit or hear spirit or see colors or shapes. She told me to just like listen to myself breathe. So I tried really hard just to listen to myself breathe and listen to the guided meditation to the person speaking. And I had a better experience. I even dreamt vividly that night. I had a really awesome dream, and it really helped me regain my abilities to hear, see, and feel, the other dimensions like I used to when I was younger, when I felt more connected to spirit. I have to show you guys something really quick. Quick interruption. All that noise you hear in the background, it's this little guy. It's Brady. He's the new addition to the family. Look how tiny he is. He's such a tiny little thing. Okay, we'll let you go now. It's my daughter's kitty. So as time went on, I started the first of many emotional clearings, and all of these emotional clearings were necessary to achieve my goal. I cleared and purged, cleared and purged, and cleared and purged. And this went on for, this went on for years. This went on for a lot of years, at least 5 years. And what I mean by emotional clearing is clearing out the old stuck lower frequencies and emotions and anger, rage, shame, guilt, regret, remorse, bitterness, that were all part of past life memories and, past life wounds. Look, he came back. He's going to hang out with us. Let's see if he goes up here like my other kitty. And, these traumas and memories are all held in our DNA. It's kind of like they're in layers, kind of like how an onion is in layers. That's kind of like how these memories are held in our DNA, and they just keep coming, and sticking with us from all of our past lifetimes. We carry it over in every single lifetime. Also included in these blocks are the behaviors and beliefs and patterns from, which the traumas we've created in our past lifetime, in our current lifetime. And as we clear each layer of these blocks from the emotional body, the physical body then releases its equivalent of that layer. We call this process emotional clearing or karmic clearing. It's so cute. He's following my hand as I talk. Oh, I have to sit on my hand sometimes because I notice that I'm handsy when I talk. So this ascension, as I understand it, is about moving one state of consciousness from one reality to another. Since a reality is a dimension, what we're undertaking is, in essence, a dimensional shift. Now, to make this shift, you must change your way of thinking. and basically just change your way of being, bringing this back to the personal level. In order to shift my thinking and ways of being, I must become aware of what beliefs and behaviors are out of balance and take appropriate steps to balance them, to realign yourself. That's basically what you need to do. You need to realign yourself, your thoughts, your mind, body, spirit, and bring everything back into balance. Now, as I've learned, we won't be doing this totally alone. There is your higher self, your soul, your higher self, your guides, your angels, ascended masters that work with you. They work with us as partners in this process. They bring our fears, beliefs, and patterns to the surface through events that trigger them into our awareness so that we can consciously acknowledge and clear them out. By repeating this process over and over again, we clear our emotional bodies of these long-held traumas and beliefs and fears, okay? As I mentioned earlier, once the emotional body purges, the physical body then purges its equivalent of those blocks. All this happens at the same time. It all happens all at once at the same time. As you're purging one thing, the next thing is it's just like it's a process. It's happening. It's everything is simultaneously happening with each clearing. And with each clearing, it recodes our DNA so that it can hold more light, changing our third dimensional carbon base. We are third dimensional carbon based bodies, selves, okay? It's changing our third dimensional carbon base to a crystalline state. Our DNA sustains our new state of consciousness. This is a beautiful thing, you guys, but there's a price to pay. During these past 6-7 years, I've experienced so many of the classic ascension symptoms that most people talk about all the time, which include things like being fatigued, having migraine headaches, experiencing muscle and joint pain, stiff neck, and like stiff shoulders or sore shoulders, or even like your shoulder blades are sore. The kitty has me zenned out. You may experience weight gain. I fluctuate. Like I gain weight, I lose weight, I gain weight. It's so frustrating because the gaining weight for me is frustrating because I have all these other autoimmune issues. So for me, gaining weight is very frustrating. So weight gain, memory loss, brain fog, difficulties with sleeping and concentrating. Some people experience a lot of dry or sore throats, blurred vision, irritable bowel, stuff, diarrhea, or being constipated, or having just digestive issues in general. Lots of heartburn. Overactive bladder, ringing in the ears is one that a lot of people talk about. Vibrating hands and feet, sensitive to the heat or sensitive to cold weather. Some people become very depressed, so they experience a lot of depression in their life because of a lot of the changes that are happening. Now, just in the last few months of creating this channel, I've received hundreds of comments or emails. I get both comments and emails from a lot of my subscribers. And I've learned that other people were also experiencing all of the same symptoms in varying degrees and combinations as myself. And I didn't even list all the side effects or symptoms. I mean, like, I have pages of symptoms and side effects. Though I was not really surprised to hear other people talk about what they're going through. I've heard this from people for so many years that, it really didn't shock me too much. I was comforted by the fact that I wasn't alone in this experience going through this process. I felt like there was a lot of fear in the beginning when I was going through all of this. And I've mentioned this many times in my videos. I always felt like something was wrong. Like I was like coming down with some terminal illness or something fatal, or, like I was dying slowly or something. And as I went through this process, longer, as I've been on this path, I've been journaling and just, I've been to the doctors. I'm okay. So just with the experience of going through this process, I know that I'm okay. I know that it's the ascension process. And I find comfort, as warped as that may sound, I find comfort knowing that there are other people that are experiencing the same thing as I'm experiencing, because we're going through this together. We're not going through this process alone. So we could kind of connect with each other and share our stories. So that's another reason why I made this channel, because, it's comforting to know that there's somebody else out there that had or has what you have and what you're experiencing, and you could kind of put their mind at ease, because this process will chew you up and spit you out if you don't drop the fear. So a while back, I started to wonder if there was a term or something for these symptoms, and I started to research on the internet to see if there was something that you would call these symptoms, okay, other than ascension. And I found out why we're paying such a high price for this ascension, okay? I turned up 2 recently discovered illnesses, and they were called fibromyalgia, which I was diagnosed with, and there was another one called chronic fatigue syndrome, CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome. And, they match the symptoms of the ascension to a T, like everything. Like this fibromyalgia is like an all-in-one package. And both had been recently discovered within like 15, maybe 20 years, if that. That's pretty recent in the medical world. And I discovered that, the endocrine system not only gives you your psychic abilities, but it also regulates the production of hormones in your system. And hormones regulate just about every single function in your entire body, including your emotions, your weight, your body temperature, your sex drive, your mental acuity, your concentration, your sight, and it goes on and on and on. Hormones are everything. Hormones tell the other cells of the body what to do. And if some hormones are deficient, the cells that rely on them, they don't function properly anymore. I recently posted a video titled How the Ascension Process Affects Your Nervous System. I'll link it down below. But I go over a little bit of that, of what I just spoke about now in that video. So based on this information, I began to wonder if emotional clearing was in some way connected to fibromyalgia and the chronic fatigue syndrome. During emotional clearing, the endocrine glands and the pituitary and the pineal and the adrenals are all greatly stressed through the triggering of deep-seated fears and repressed memories. So when we experience emotional or physical stress, our whole hormone production becomes like crazy. It's erratic. It's like, what do we do? And when this occurs on a continuous basis, as with emotional clearing, some hormones are nearly wiped out and others are overproduced, and we experience the corresponding symptoms, things like weight gain, aching joints, sore muscles, brain fog or short-term memory loss, persistent fatigue. I don't know if I just said that. Some people even experience low-grade fevers, and there's so many other things that go on when your hormones are out of whack. In other words, we develop fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome or develop the same symptoms. Personally, I find it hard to accept that I would develop these illnesses since I was clearing out these old energies and integrating, the fears that I believed caused this disease, not this dis-ease. I had long ago come to the conclusion that the root of the physical dis-ease lays in the emotional body. I believed, correctly or incorrectly, that spiritual people were happier. I really did. I believed that they were happier and healthier than non-spiritual people. When I think back before I was consciously aware, I used to see people that were like spiritual people or like hippies or whatever, like peace and love and doing yoga and being vegan and happy and smiling and all full of love. They didn't seem like they had any of these fears or pains or any of this crap that I'm going through. So therefore, I thought becoming more spiritual, that I should experience better health, a lot more happiness. I don't know. Maybe I was ignorant or something to the fact that that's not how it goes. I don't know. It made me question whether I was really becoming more spiritual or not, or maybe I wasn't doing it right. Maybe I was ascending the wrong way. I don't know. I seen them and I thought that was going to be me if I became more consciously aware and mindful and more spiritual. But that's not how I don't know. I apparently overlooked the fact that, when one seeks to move from one state to another, there's a period of imbalance, chaos, and adjustment before a new state of balance is achieved. So it's a possibility that I looked at them and just thought, oh, if I become spiritual and peace and love and I raise my consciousness and become consciously aware, I'm going to be like that. And I skipped the whole process. Like in this thought, there's a whole process that these people had to have went through. They went through that whole shitty period of, adjustment and balance and all that stuff to be where they're at today. So where I'm at today, from where I was 5 years ago, is a lot more of that, my consciousness is more expanded. I'm a lot more happier. I am a lot more healthier. I'm still going through a lot of these aches and pains and a lot of these ascension symptoms, but I can tell you what, the change in my lifestyle and going through this ascension the way I was to how I'm doing it now, it's a total 360. Like I don't have the aches and pains as much as I did. And I think it has a lot to do of how I started to change things and become more balanced and adjusted in my lifestyle. So even though this was a very frightening and, disheartening discovery, at the same time, it was actually a relief to finally understand what was actually happening to me. I had felt out of control for so many years, for so long, by the debilitating nature of these symptoms. Not to mention, I always felt like I was secretly dying of some horrible hidden terminal disease like I just spoke about a few minutes ago. Now, with this finally understanding the big picture of ascension, of the ascension process, I feel more in control of my life. I feel probably more in control of my life more now than I've ever felt. So some of you guys may ask, so how does this all happen? How does this all come up? How does emotional clearing lead to fibromyalgia or the chronic fatigue syndrome? And more importantly, what can be done to heal our bodies of these illnesses? Because not everyone who goes through this emotional clearing and ascension will develop fibromyalgia or the chronic fatigue syndrome. It's my belief that those who do attract these illnesses do so because they need the kind of assistance that these illnesses provide. So let me explain what I mean when I say this. So recently I was guided to some information that informed me that there would be these new viruses upon the planet that would be incurable by 3D methods, okay? Because they were designed for a higher purpose. These viruses were created to literally burn patterns out of our DNA and hold us back from ascending or awakening, okay? By means of chemtrails, superbugs, the Ebola virus, random measles outbreaks, flu shedding. This is all man-made. By them chemtrailing our skies, fluorinating our water, vaccinating our children, with all these new poisons that they come up with. There's a new vaccine like every single year. Hell, there's a new vaccine lately, it seems like every couple of months, that they want to give to our children. And then, of course, they push this propaganda by using the news media, by scaring parents by saying that there's these new measles outbreak going on. There's this flu virus this year is going to kill thousands and hundreds. You know, there's just so much fear that they're pushing out to get you guys out there to get these injections. So just do your due diligence. That's, you know, what I want to say first and foremost. Due diligence. Be careful of what you're injecting and what you're allowing to be injected into your body. But you know, they claim that these poisons are given to us to protect us against these new viruses, and I don't agree. I did a video on the flu vaccine almost a year ago, and I cover a lot of this information in that video, and I'll link that video down below in the description area. Now, I read that there is a scientific law called the law of dissipating structures, which states that before a new structure can be established, the old one must dissipate or dissolve. I'm starting to believe that behavior patterns are genetically encoded in our DNA. They are passed down from generation to generation and were originally created by our belief system. Now, if chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia are those viruses, then they could assist people with this pattern by burning it out of their DNA. So those who attract chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia do so to obtain the assistance that they need to clear stubborn, deeply entrenched patterns in their DNA. Now, going further, since these viruses are related to, you know, the attack on our muscles, they're attacking our muscles, they force you to slow down, okay, and take stock of your life and change your beliefs about yourself and, you know, what is really, really important. They force you to change your priorities. I know they forced me to change my priorities, and giving you the help that you need to bring your life into balance. And that's exactly what this dis-ease did for me. It helped me bring my life into balance. I left the city and moved to the country because I needed balance, grounding, realigning. Now, for example, I was a very, very independent woman, very proud, very stubborn, very energetic, and I was always on the go, 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 go. I always had something to do and I had to go. You know, I had a lot of pride. I could and I would accomplish anything I set my mind on. And I did not ever ask for help. I had way too much pride to ask for help. I had fear, you know, of asking for help because I had so much pride. Now, because of these viruses, fibromyalgia, I was forced to reevaluate my belief of defining myself by my career and by who I thought I was, you know, as I moved from a very comfortable 3D career and living a very comfortable living situation into an intuitive empath or an empathic guide, I could no longer expend the energy working in a field that I had lost my passion for. You know, I lost my passion for this a long time ago. I tried to go back, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't function. I just couldn't. Now, because of this debilitating fatigue, I could not accomplish, you know, much of the things I used to do each day. And my self-worth and self-esteem actually like went, it went all the way downhill. It was low. I became a hermit. I really did. I cut the world out of my life, literally cut everybody out of my life. This forced me to reevaluate my beliefs around accomplishment and why I needed it so much. Because I could not work as much as I used to. I wasn't bringing in the amount of money I needed to pay my bills. This forced me to confront my fears about asking people for help. The universe has a really odd way of humbling your ass, okay? I learned that my symptoms were exacerbated by anxiety. You know, when I became fearful about not having the money needed to pay the bills, my anxiety would kick my butt. I learned to stay open and allow my guides to assist me. And as I did this, the money came each month. I don't know how this happens. Like, I don't know the science behind how this happens, but it just does. I try not to question it. I just believe in the process and it just happens. It's like I'm being a master of manifesting. It just comes. If you believe, it will happen. If you can see it in your third eye, if you can see it and believe it, and you believe it with love, and you believe it with I don't even know how to say this. You just have to believe. Like, you just have to know. Not even just believing. You have to know it. You have to know it. You have to will it. You have to see it, and it will just happen. I promise you guys this. I used to watch another person on YouTube about 2 years ago, and he used to say the same thing, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I can live in his reality. And boom, I'm living it. It's real, you guys. You just have to believe it. You have to know it. You have to trust it. Trust the universe, and it will be. Will it to be. I now realize that without these diseases or viruses, I would not have changed my deep beliefs and patterns, because I wouldn't have unless I was forced to do this. Fibromyalgia is not my enemy. It was a blessing. Not a welcoming blessing, you know, but it's like a blessing in disguise. It was a blessing and a lesson all at the same time. Now, here are some solutions that I've come up with for you guys. So, over the years, I've tried many things to alleviate my symptoms. And a lot of those things were things like, they weren't even that tough, honestly, unless you're like, the first one is cutting out sugar. So I used to put, like, I swear, 10 sugars, like spoons of sugar in my coffee. And I wasn't really too crazy about eating sweets. I mean, I like to indulge in chocolate and stuff, but not so much so now. I don't no longer put sugar in my coffee. I still eat sweets every once in a while, but not like I used to. So cutting out sweets is a big deal, you guys. And if you cut down, at least cut down on the sweets, you will notice a difference. If you cut out the sweets, you will notice a huge difference. If you cut out dairy products, you will notice a huge difference, especially milk and cheese, some cheeses. Someone mentioned that I should cut out wheat, and I've never heard of that before, so I was looking into that, so I'll have to check that out. I haven't eaten any wheat since one of my subscribers mentioned it to me, so I haven't really noticed a big change, but it hasn't been that long. But I'm going to keep you know, researching it and not eating wheat in the meantime. Let's see here. I started to eat more organic foods, more clean foods, more not so much meat. I tried to do the no meat thing, but I need meat in my diet. I just cut down the meat. You know, I don't eat. I used to love red meat and eat it all the time. Every chance that I could get to eat it, I would eat it. So I cut down the red meat like a lot, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, something like that. I ate a lot of chicken, and I was eating a lot of fish for a little bit, and then I got all fished out, so I gave it a break. But I like having chicken. But you know, I found a lot of substitutes for meats, like walnuts and beans and stuff like that. Um, what else? Epsom salt baths or Himalayan salt baths. Taking a salt bath, not table salt. Table salt is toxic. It's toxic to eat and it's toxic to bathe in. An Epsom salt bath it does wonders for your body, you guys. I like to use essential oils, all kinds of oils for all different things. I use coconut. I don't use lotion on my skin. I use coconut oil on my skin. And also, I like to eat coconut oil. It gives you energy. I've reached out to an energy healer and got some energy work done. I had some frequency sound healing done, and that was amazing, you guys. Getting a massage is good. It's really good. I do yoga every day. Even on my days that I have really bad flare-ups, I will roll my yoga mat out and I'll lay on it and just look up at the sky and just be like, I made it on the mat today. And that's all I do. And then I roll it back up and I go back to the couch. So at least try some stretching, try yoga. When I suggest yoga to people, they give me that look like I have like 5 heads. I'm not talking about doing inversions and headstands and you know all that crazy stuff. I'm talking about gentle yoga, train yourself or you know to learn how to breathe, stretch, and you get your muscles lubricated and warmed up. That will make a huge difference if you have a lot of muscle and joint pain. I have yet to see a chiropractor. That's on my list. I want to see a chiropractor. So yeah, all of these things have helped me so much. You have no idea. But none of them could give me back my life. They've helped me, but I have not had a pain-free life, okay? But they give me a release of, you know, a relief that I need. Now, if I wasn't doing any of these things that I mentioned, I'd probably be sofa bound or dead. These things help. Trust me. Now, this is the dedication part of my ascension that I spoke about in the very beginning of the video. These are all things that you need to do. You need to dedicate yourself to doing some of these things that I mentioned, like yoga and eating clean and cutting out sugar and taking Epsom salt baths. It's basically just dedicate yourself to self-care and self-love. Also, not only do I do all of those things that I just mentioned, but I add a few, you know, vitamins and minerals to my diet. I'm convinced that magnesium and vitamin D are the two most important vitamin and mineral to include in your diet. You know, I have a whole bunch. Those are just two that I definitely make sure I always have magnesium, and I make sure that I always have vitamin D in my cabinet because those two they work hand in hand and they give me a lot of pain relief. You know, a lot of the aches and pains that I had in my joints, the magnesium took care of, and a lot of the sicknesses and viruses that people catch, like the flu and stuff like that, I don't catch any of that because I'm always taking my vitamin D. I take care of my body. I take vitamin C, and I try to live as healthy and positive and in a high vibration as much as possible. To me, it appears that we attract solutions to our symptoms, and we're guided to those practitioners and, you know, therapies that complete the healing process as we clear the associating beliefs and patterns. So there is a relief for our ascension symptoms, you guys. You just have to be diligent and committed, okay? And I'm not saying that these are the only therapies that will work for you guys, and everyone will experience different levels of relief if they use them. Some may not experience any relief, but it was worth a try. You don't know until you try, you know? But these are just a few that work very well, and they work very well for me. And this is the experience that I'm sharing is my experience. I seem to attract people that come along and, you know, give me helpful advice and guidance to help me heal, you know, as well. Like one of my subscribers advised me about red light therapy. So I looked into it and I bought a red light, and let me tell you guys, it's amazing. It makes the joint pain and muscle pain literally melt away. It's like having a heating pad on your body. And then there's beauty benefits with red light therapy. So Google it, you guys, and look into it. If any of you guys are fibromyalgia sufferers, try the red light therapy. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Now, it's my hope that everyone who watches this video will understand that, you know, physical symptoms are a part of the process of emotional clearing and ascension. Now, to think that we can clear and clean our emotional and physical bodies without experiencing pain and discomfort is very unrealistic. But our symptoms are by no means perpetual, and based on my experience and research, they can be alleviated and will eventually be eliminated as we complete this ascension process. But again, you have to be committed to the process. Commitment is a huge thing, you guys. Commitment. If you can be committed to this process and you can embrace this process and you learn how to change, balance, and realign, you will find relief as you go through this ascension. I hope that this video resonated with a couple of you guys. Thank you for watching. Sending you all lots of healing, light, love, and positive vibrations. Mwah.